We're back with Chris Vine, the professional patchman. He's going to tell you a little bit about his favorite patching tools.
I am Chris Vine, and thank you very much for joining me today. We're going to go over some of my favorite tools here as you apply drywall patching in your own home. So, definitely, some of the first things in entering someone's home, we want to get the foot booties. This way we don't bring in or trail in any dirt or grime that our shoes may pick up along the way. We have here a 3M masker. There's some 3M tape and the masking plastic. This is a 72-inch or 6-foot plastic. This is pretty common for doing patches in the home. I use it for the floor or openings a lot to avoid any overlap or overspray that may occur. Caulking gun, definitely use this for very small things, maybe just a little tiny hole in the wall or something like that. I might just stick it in there and we can prime right over that. Maybe there's some baseboard along where you want to fill this in if your knife accidentally cuts into it during a patch, but you can wipe it back with a sponge for an easy, smooth application. Mesh tape, this will cover all wall openings that are at least this wide. If you have maybe an area where there was tape before and it is the width of this that had come out and it was just paper tape, you can tape both sides of that after running this back along through the main seam there. For some different tapes, I have a Stanley and a DeWalt. Typically the tape that's here, it's a little thicker, more sturdy. I can extend it for quite a ways before it folds on me, but I don't really like it when I try to cut drywall because I just don't really like bending, especially a tape of this stature. I would rather bend this one. It's thinner, it's a little easier to kind of maneuver around as you stretch it through, the drywall. You can pull with your blade and make for really good cuts. This is the one I have today. I use this on a lot of patching, but there are some really nice utility knives that stay the length as this would, but it unscrews right here so that way you can put a new blade in there and the blade sticks out, much further than this. Probably about another ½ inch or so. Makes for cutting drywall a lot better than this. Right here, a Phillips and a flathead screwdriver. If any screws are sticking out of the wall or, I don't want to really go too deep with one of these compact or screw guns, I can just, apply some light force and get the screw in the wall the rest of the way. This one really readies me for any preparation that I might have for, outlet covers, things of that nature. We got a jabber saw. This jab saw, we can definitely cut in and make or retrofit cuts of the drywall a lot easier than scoring, the drywall that's already existing over and over again. You can just saw yourself a nice little hole there. Then, once you do have your hole, we can go ahead and apply a level to it, get it nice and straight. This is a 2-foot level. You can get 4-foot levels, or also you can measure from the ground up and snap yourself some lines to make sure you're gonna do a nice little straight line there. If you don't have any of that stuff, that's okay. Just take a nice blade and eye yourself out a nice little hole in the wall with less labor-extensive things. We have a little friendly neighborhood bee. Gets you really good honey throughout the year and pollinates all of our plants too, so that's nice that he came to join us today. So anyhow, here is my pan. I had mentioned this in a past video with the rounded edges. This sheetrock brand really provides us with a really nice solid hold. Very comfortable, unlike the square edged, those offset angles, they can hurt your hand throughout the day, and this, I could grab onto this for 10 hours plus and be fine. So here's a few blades here. These knives work really well. It's the 2-inch. Get me into some pretty tight corners along baseboard or such. If the baseboard is even closer than this, I'll take a plastic knife and cut it down. So very nice. Can use that in quite a bit of things, different applications. I have this hammer knife here. We can take this and hit in screws as we go along, coating screws. This is something that I would typically keep in my back pocket, but yep, I would just go around and you can peel that off and take off the rest of these remains. But yeah, I can cut mesh tape all day with this thing, even just regular paper tape, using that to cut it back. Here's the 8-inch. I'll apply this on seams, typically like this. Somebody here did not do a good job of doing the seams, so I'm going to come and fix this later on. It looks like they used an 8-inch blade too, but they ended up leaving quite a few edges all through here. I try to make it, as smooth as I can, and then we can knock back each edge here so that way your final pool is nice and smooth. So when you're busting out these seams, you know, especially butt joints. Here's your 12-inch and your 10. 10 would be for a nice second coat. You can see that it's gonna bust it out a little further. Since these are probably mostly uneven due to the bellying, as this is a 9-foot ceiling, the belly joint is going to leave a nice hump, so this is probably why these edges are happening or taking place. But again, you can run your blade and get this nice and smooth here. For that 12-inch, typically with the 10, actually first I'll take the butt joints and I can pull each side of the tape, and then take this and do the second coat for the butt joints after I've busted those out. And that butt joint is basically where the factory edges of drywall meet up together. So that would be, you know, your seam for that first 4 feet, and then the butt, which would be just the edge of the 8 feet that come together. This is Ames, and these are Richland knives, blue steel, very good blades. Got a hammer also. This may just be due to, I don't know, if I get into a wall and open it up and need to knock the, you know, stud back a little or what have you, or pull something, maybe nails or pre-existing or whatever, you can take the nails out. Always good to have a hammer readily available. So once we apply coats, and just in case you made some nice edges also, we do have a sander here. Just a super sander tool. I really enjoy this kind here, how it snaps on to the actual sanding pad. Easy to take off, don't really have to unscrew it. Still has some nice paper, so try to just snap that back together. If you're doing smooth walls, I recommend this 9-inch disc. You can take this, and as it shows here, there's a piece of sanding paper that you can kind of Velcro it to it and, you know, reuse it time and time again. But yeah, perfect for flat walls. Here we have the hose for the compressor. So this attaches into your port here, and you can mess with the compressor gauges on how much air pressure you want to regulate through PSI wise, so pounds per square inch. Typically, if I'm gonna do anything through the hopper here, applying texture, which this has a medium-sized nozzle on right now, you can also control some of the air through here and through here, but most of the time I'll kind of set this thing to maybe around the medium or all the way up. Get this thing to about 10 to 150 depending on what kind of application I'm going to do and how fast I need it to spit out. Like, you know, if I'm going really quickly through there, I'll apply more air. If I want really big texture to come out, you know, I can drop that air here, or I can just lower the pressure into about that 80 range and it'll get us some bigger texture. That way we can, you know, use this handy tool here and for our knockdown textures. Yep, this is that plastic knockdown blade there. So this Marshalltown, this really gets it going. This is about a 22-inch blade for smooth coating walls. So typically if I really need about a level 5 or into the 4 even, again, kind of what I would do with that 12-inch, I could bust out just actual seams for level 4, get it really extra smooth. Since this, you know, is kind of getting busted on both sides, I'll kind of smooth out the edges here, and then I can use this blade to just knock down everything very nice and smooth. This makes it like a placid lake. So really cool tool, even if you're gonna apply, you know, a really smooth coat to a ceiling or a wall there also. This is a handy tool. It'll make sure that no edges appear along the way. You can knock down hundreds of square feet and this thing will leave a nice application. You still will have to sand down. Unlike edging, there might be a wave rather than edges. So you just, you know, sand down those waves, man, and get it smooth.
Well, I hope you found this information useful. You can find my books on home building and remodeling at Amazon. But for now, tell them what to do, Chris.
So if you enjoyed what you saw here today, show it, smash that like button, and we'll show you more videos just like this. Go ahead and leave me comments and I'll be happy to reply.